Meanwhile, in the UAE, there's this new social media app that's very popular there and around the world, actually. So this is TikTok, introduced only months ago, was downloaded millions of times from the Apple and Google app stores by users throughout the Middle East, Europe, Asia, Africa, and North America. While the majority of its users are in the Emirates, TikTok surged to become one of the most downloaded social apps in the US last week, according to app rankings. And look, it's not like a new social media app rises to the top of the downloads every week. And so this is really interesting. And so people were looking into it. And here's what they found out about this app that's sort of noteworthy if you've downloaded it. The service TikTok is actually a spying tool, according to American officials familiar with a classified intelligence assessment and a New York Times investigation into the app and its developers. It's used by the government of the UAE to try to track every conversation, movement, relationship, appointment, sound, and image of those who install it on their phones. And again, it is very popular in the UAE, but it's been downloaded all over the world.
Right.
And so, like we could go into some of the ways that it gets data are actually pretty clever, and also probably exactly what a lot of other apps are doing on your phones.
That's what's so great about the story. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so on the surface, TikTok tracks users' location by offering an accurate weather forecast. It hunts for new contacts anytime a user opens the app, under the pretense that it's helping connect with those friends, much like how Instagram flags Facebook friends. It has access to users' microphones, calendars, cameras, and other phone data. But the thing is, it's like, hey, it's convenient. It's using all this stuff, but not necessarily for you, for some UAE bureaucrat to look through.
Right. I mean, you can't even, and at this point, you can't even reasonably expect people to stop allowing such convenience. And it's just, we are destined for
exposure,
tragedy.
I guess.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, and look, from the point of view of the UAE, I mean, they're worried obviously about like democracy and like protests, things like that. This can help to track all sorts of different things. Now, look, like we sort of alluded to it earlier, many apps are tracking your location. You can't say a word without getting ads all about that stuff on other services that don't even seem related in any way.
Wow, and we sound so crazy when we say it, but now everyone is kind of realizing that, yep, there's no other explanation.
Yeah, and it follows you. Like I at one point was trying to buy wedding bands. I already got married, got the wedding band. I will never stop getting ads for wedding bands on literally there are services that have not been dreamed up yet that I will someday get wedding band ads on. But anyway, look, this is it seems a level more, I guess maybe nefarious. I mean, I feel like governments in particular, not just like we've had cases where they will do deals with these companies to get access to some of their data, or if a crime happens, they will go into one of their apps and try to recover information. But this is the government itself, apparently, through a shell corporation, putting out their own spying tools. And if the UAE is doing it, I'm gonna guess that they're probably not the only ones. And so this is at the very least a reminder that we should be very careful about the sorts of apps that we're using, especially when something just pops up out of nowhere. This apparently was a fairly simplistic like reverse engineering of TikTok actually, that they used and made their own version of. Now, is there any information, more information? Unfortunately not. Spokesman for the CIA and the Emirati government declined to comment. Perhaps at some point we'll find out more since the New York Times is apparently investigating this. But again, just a reminder, they're getting access to your information in many different ways. It's just a question of how far does it go, how many businesses, how many governments. So it's something to bear in mind. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.